At 2 a.m., my sister suddenly appeared, dumped her kids right on my doorstep with only trash bags. Can you imagine dedicating 2 years of your life, sacrificing everything to save 3 traumatized children, only for the woman who abandoned them to smirk in your face and drop a bomb that shatters your entire world? Your husband is the father of my baby. It all started when I was 28. My husband, Thomas, had just left for a year-long work assignment in Europe, and I was still getting used to being alone. Then, at 2 a.m. one cold March morning, my doorbell rang. Standing there on my tiny porch was my sister-in-law, Janet, with her 3 kids, Hunter, Annie, and Grace, huddled behind her, each clutching a single black trash bag of clothes. She handed me a crumpled envelope, a fake guardianship paper from some random website, and simply said, "They're yours now. I need a break." Then she turned, got into a waiting car, and drove away, leaving her children to watch silently as their mother abandoned them right in front of my eyes. I was in complete shock. I called the police, but they basically said, no immediate danger, they're with family, and told me to call Child Protective Services in the morning. Which, of course, I did. CPS opened a case, and a caseworker, Scott, came to my one-bedroom apartment. He helped me apply for emergency kinship care, which gave me temporary legal authority and a tiny bit of financial help. That first night, all 3 kids slept in my bed while I took the couch. Hunter, just 11, sat awake, staring at the door until morning. Annie cried silently beside me, and poor little Grace, who was only 3, wet the bed. It was heartbreaking. Thomas called that night, visibly shaken, offering to come home. But his contract had brutal penalties, and we decided he should stay. The school counselor, a true angel, reported back to CPS that Grace had been unwashed for weeks before coming to me, Hunter hadn't turned in homework in months, and Annie had been stealing food from other kids' lunches. By month 3, my savings were gone, swallowed by the sudden cost of 3 children. I took a second job, working nights after the kids were asleep, surviving on barely 4 hours of sleep. Scott from CPS was a godsend, helping with childcare when I needed it. I finally tracked down Janet's ex-boyfriend, who told me she'd met a 19-year-old at a bar and jetted off to Vegas. The kids were holding her back, he said. And through all this, Thomas's calls became less frequent. His project extended for another 6 months. After half a year of silence from Janet, I filed for permanent custody with the help of a pro bono lawyer. Janet didn't show for the first court date, or the second. After the third, in December, the judge finally granted me full legal custody. The whole process had taken 9 agonizing months. Then, 15 months after Janet walked away, Hunter called me Mom for the first time. The others followed. By 18 months, Grace couldn't even remember Janet's face. When I showed her a photo, she looked at it, then at me, and said, "That's not my mommy." "You're my mommy." My heart melted, but it was also around this time that Thomas and I were growing distant. We barely spoke once a month, and his calls were strange, sometimes asking if I'd heard from Janet. It felt, watch full story, the link attached below.